Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, January 6, 2022. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games and look ahead to tonight's games in each sport, news and notes, and best bets. So short and simple show today. We're going to start with college basketball. I will recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to a very busy window today in the sport. FIU over Bethune-Cookman, 68-65. Longboard over Peffier, 109-69. Morgan State over Goucher, 141. St. John's over DePaul, 89-84. Number 10, Michigan State over Nebraska, 79-67. Number 12, Houston over South Florida, 83-66. Number 15, Alabama over Florida, 83-70. Number 18, Tennessee over Ole Miss, 66-60 in overtime. Buffalo over Bowling Green, 99-88. East Carolina over Tulane, 88-80 in overtime. Temple over UCF, 66-62. NC&T over Presbyterian, 65-57. Gardner-Webb over Charleston Southern, 88-63. UNC Asheville over Campbell, 60-54. Louisville over Pitt, 75-72. Youngstown State over Robert Morris, 64-60. Cleveland State over Purdue Fort Wayne, 65-58. VCU over Dayton, 53-52. Davidson over St. Joe's, 88-73. Richmond over UMass, 80-72. Chattanooga over Wofford, 75-67. Mercer over Sanford, 83-80. Furman over UNC Greensboro, 58-54. East Tennessee State over VMI, 80-79. West Carolina over the Citadel, 94-90 in overtime. Florida Gulf Coast over North Florida, 74-67. North Arizona over Embry-Riddle, Arizona, 101-54. Miami over Syracuse, 88-87. Milwaukee over Green Bay, 63-49. Number 10, Villanova over Creighton, 75-41. Alabama A&M over Mississippi Valley State, 72-67. Arkansas Pine Bluff over Alabama State, 70-68. Southern over Prairie View in a forfeit. Texas Southern over Grambling, 67-61. Alcorn State over Jackson State, 65-50. Number 11, Iowa State over number 25, Texas Tech, 51-47. Notre Dame over North Carolina, 78-73. Northern Iowa over Valpo, 92-65. Missouri State over Bradley, 71-69. Penn State over Northwestern, 74-70. And Long Beach State over Westcliff, 90-64. Now I look ahead to today. Merrimack over Fairleigh Dickinson, forfeit. And New Mexico State over Lamar, forfeit. Alrighty. First up, Southeast Louisiana, Houston Baptist from Leonard E. Morrell Center. All the Southland games are going to be there today. My projection is Southeast Louisiana by 9 3/8. And the line is let's see here. 7 and 143.5. I'll lay the 7 with Southeast Louisiana. Next up, 2 o'clock, San Fran and Loyola Chicago. Great game. That is a great mid-major game. Could determine an at-large down the road. That's how great of a game it is. 13-1 and 9-2. From the Lifetime Activity Center, my projection is San Francisco by 3 3/8. And this line is Loyola 2.5 total 130. I'm taking San Fran plus the 2.5 and plus 116 straight up. I love Loyola Chicago as a team going forward, but I think this is San Fran's time to shine. 2:30 from the Southland Conference men's basketball tip-off at the Leonard E. Morrell Center. My projection is New Orleans by 8. And it is 1 and 152. I'm going to lay the 1 with New Orleans. Radford and UC Upstate at 4 o'clock. My projection is Radford by 5 3/4, and it is 4.5 and 133.5. I'll take the over. 6 o'clock, NJIT and US Lowell. My projection is Lowell by 7 1/4. And the line is, let's see here. Here we go. 5.5 and 133.5. So, not enough to bet on Lowell. I'll go. Actually, I kind of like the under in that game. I think that's a lower scoring game. Southland games. Northwestern State and A&M Corpus Christi. My projection is Corpus Christi by 5.5, and it's 7.5 and 150.5. I'll take Northwestern State plus a 7.5. Here's a big one. 7 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, number 13, Ohio State and Indiana. My projection is Buckeyes by 1. And it is Indiana by 3, total 137.5. Is this Vegas knows? I don't know. But we thought Florida yesterday was potentially Vegas knows, or 2 days ago. So I'm taking Ohio State plus a 3 and plus 126 to win the game outright. Binghamton and Albany. My projection is Albany by 6.25. And it's 3.5 and 125.5. I'll lay the points at Albany. Tennessee Martin and Tennessee State. My projection is State by 9 and 7/8. And it's 5.5 and 145.5. I'll lay the points with Tennessee State. Bryant Wagner. My projection is Wagner by 8.25. And it is 7.5 and 142.5. I'll take the over. St. Fran, PA, St. Fran, Brooklyn. My projection is Brooklyn by 3.25. And then it's PA by 2.5, total 140.5. I'll take Brooklyn plus the 2.5 and plus 115 to win on the money line. Mount St. Mary's and LIU. My projection is LIU by 1/4, and it's 4.5 and 135. And I'm taking Mount St. Mary's in the points. I think they can win now game outright too. I'm not gonna call it. I think LIU wins, but does not cover. Sacred Heart and Central Con. My projection is Sacred Heart by 4.25, and it is 3.5 and 142.5. I'll take the over. New Hampshire, Vermont. My projection is Vermont by 7.75, or I'm sorry, 7 and 7/8. I've read that wrong. And it's 10.5 and 126, and I'm taking New Hampshire plus the points. UIC and Wright State. My projection is Wright State by 13.25, and it's 7.5 and 144.5. I'll lay the points at Wright State. Texas Arlington and Georgia State. My projection is Georgia State by 16.25, and it's 7.5 and 136.5. I'll lay the points at Georgia State. Coastal Carolina and Troy. My projection is Coastal Carolina by 7/8. And it is Troy 1.5, total 138.5. Not enough for me to bet Coastal plus 1.5. But I like them to win. I would put them in an underdog money line parlay for sure. So I'll go to the total and I'll take the over. ESPN 2, Maryland and Illinois. My projection is Illinois by 10.5. And it's 11.5 and 141. I'll take the over. 7:30, Pac-12 Network, Long Beach State, UCLA, a game that was postponed from earlier in the year. My projection is UCLA by a whopping 29.25. And I don't see it here for some reason. The UCLA game. Let's check Vegas Insider. They have it. So, 27 and 145 is the consensus. So, that's enough wiggle room to pull the trigger on UCLA. Little Rock and UL Monroe. My projection is Little Rock by 1 and 1/8. And it is UL Monroe by 5.5, total 148.5. I'm taking Little Rock plus the 5.5 and plus 220 to win outright. Southeast Missouri State and Belmont at 8 o'clock. My projection is Belmont by 13. And then it's 20.5 and 157.5. I'll take Southeast Missouri State plus the 20.5. That's a high number. Southern Miss and UTSA. My projection for this game is UTSA by 7.5. And it comes to 4.5 and 136.5. I'll lay the points with UTSA. UAB in North Texas. on CBS Sports Network. My projection is UAB by 2.5. And this line is North Texas by 2, total 125. I'm taking UAB plus a 2 and plus 108 to win outright. Middle Tennessee and Rice. My projection is Rice by 7 1/8. And it's 4.5 and 150.5. I'll lay the points at Rice. Grand Canyon and Texas Rio Grande. My projection is Grand Canyon by 15. And it's 7.5 and 142.5. I'll lay the points at Grand Canyon. Sam Houston and Tarleton. My projection is Sam Houston by 2 3/4. And it is 3.5 and 125.5. I'll take Sam Houston plus the 3.5 and plus 152 on the money line. Arkansas State and Louisiana. My projection is Louisiana by 5 7/8. And it's 5.5 and 145.5. I'll take the over. App State and South Alabama. My projection is USA by 4 3/8. And it's 5.5 and 134.5. Not enough to pull the trigger with the dog plus the points. But I'm going to go with the over 134.5. Oral Roberts, St. Thomas, Minnesota. My projection is Oral by 7. And it's 5.5 and 157.5. That's a high total. I'm going to go with the under, but I don't feel good about it. North Dakota and Omaha. My projection is North Dakota by 3/4. And it's Omaha by 3.5, total 148.5. I'm taking North Dakota plus the 3.5 and plus 146 to win straight up. 8:30 Southland tip-off from the Merrill Center. My projection for Nichols Incarnate Word is Nichols by 19 3/4. And it's 10.5 and 144.5. I'll lay the points at Nichols. Next up, big game, 9 o'clock on the Fox Sports 1. Iowa at number 23, Wisconsin. My projection is Wisconsin by 4 5/8. And this line is 3 and 146.5. I'll take the over. I think Iowa and Wisconsin, that's a high-scoring game. Washington and Colorado on ESPN2. My projection is Colorado by 6 1/8. And it's only 1.5, and the total is 131.5. I'm laying the 1.5 of Colorado. Montana State and Idaho. My projection is Montana State by 11 1/4. And it is 9.5 and 147.5. So not enough to lay it with Montana State. So I'm going to go with the over. Montana and Eastern Washington. My projection is Montana by 7/8. And it's 3 and 141.5. I'm taking Eastern Washington plus the 3, and I think they can win outright too. Pacific and BYU. My projection is BYU by a whopping 26 3/8. And it's 18 and 137.5. I'm laying the 18 with BYU. SMU and Cincinnati, 9:30 on ESPN. My projection is Cincy by 3. And that's what it is, and the total is 141. I'll take the under. I feel like American games usually go under. Pac-12 Network, Washington, Utah. My projection is Utah by 6 1/8, and it's 9 and 148. That's high. I'm taking Washington plus the 9. 10 o'clock, UC San Diego and UC Riverside. My projection is Riverside by 14 3/8. And 6 and 134.5. I'm laying it with Riverside. Louisiana Tech and UTEP on CBS Sports Network. My projection is Tech by 10 3/8, and it's 3 and 137.5. I'm laying the 3 with Louisiana Tech. And last but not least, 11 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Number 7, USC and Cal. I feel like we haven't seen USC in a minute. My projection is USC by 13 and a quarter. And it's 5.5 and 128.5. I'm laying the 5.5 with USC. All right, now we'll move on to the NBA. We will recap the games from last night and look ahead to a smaller window for today. Hornets over the Pistons, 140-111. The Hornets are 20-19. Detroit 7-29. Kelly Oubre at 32. Trey Lyles 17. Sixers over the Magic, 116-106. Phillies 21-16. Orlando is 7-32. Joel Embiid 31 points. Cole Anthony had 26. Rockets over the Wizards, 114-111 on a buzzer beater 3 with Kevin Porter Jr. with 0.4 left. Houston 11-28. Washington 19-19. Christian Wood 22 points. Bradley Beal at 27. Spurs over the Celtics 99-97. San Antonio is 15-22. Boston 18-20. DeJounte Murray 22 points and 12 assists, so he was back for the Spurs. And then Jaylen Brown had 30 for Boston. Nets over the Pacers 129-121. So best bet improves to 3-0 in 2022 with the return of Kyrie Irving to the Nets lineup. Brooklyn is 24-12. Indiana 14-25. Kevin Durant had 39 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. He was amazing. Domantas Sabonis 32 points, 12 boards, 10 assists, so a triple-double in defeat. Mavericks over the Warriors 99-82. Big win for Dallas, 20-18 on the year. Golden State 29-8. Luka Doncic 26 points and 8 assists. Andrew Wiggins had 17 to lead the Warriors. Raptors over the Bucks 117-111. The Raptors 18-17. Milwaukee 25-15. Pascal Siakam was great, 33 and 6 assists, and then Chris Middleton had 25 to lead Milwaukee. Timberwolves over the Thunder 98-90. Minnesota 18-20. Oklahoma City 38-24. Anthony Edwards 22 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 19. Jazz over the Nuggets 115-109. The Jazz 28-10. Denver 18-18. Bojan Bogdanovic 36 points and 13 boards. Nikola Jokic 26 points, 21 boards, and 11 assists. He was just incredible. Heat over the Trailblazers 115-109. The Heat 24-15. Portland 14-23. Max Struss had 25 to lead Miami, and Fernie Simmons had 28 to lead Portland with 7 dishes. And the Hawks over the Kings 108-102. The Hawks 17-20. Sacramento 16-24. Kevin Huerter had 25 and 5 assists. De'Aaron Fox had 30 with 6 assists. Now we look ahead to tonight, 7:30 TNT from Madison Square Garden, the Celtics and the Knicks. My projection is Boston by a quarter. And it is Boston by 1.5, total 210. Not enough to bet the Knicks. I like the under in this game. I think it's low scoring. And this is a rematch, obviously, of the first game of the season, where it was that double overtime classic that the Knicks pulled out of their butts. The Pistons and the Grizzlies. My projection is Grizzlies by 24 and 3/8. And it's 12.5 and 218. I'm laying the points with the Grizzlies. That's an 8 o'clock game, as well as Warriors-Pelicans. My projection is New Orleans as a 14 and 5/8 underdog. And it's only 2 and 215.5. That's ridiculous. I'm laying the 2 at Golden State. I don't know. Like, is Steph Curry not playing or something? Like why is it only 2? Like, Zion's not playing. Oh, quad contusions. Aha. So if he was out, Curry's literally their team. As much as respect as I have for Draymond and Clay, but the Warriors go as Curry goes. I don't know how they want, or how they would win games when he doesn't play well. So even without Curry, this would go down in theory to 7 and 5/8. I'll lay the 2 at Golden State still. They still got Draymond in there. And then last but not least, 10 o'clock, TNT Clippers Suns. My projection is the Suns by a whopping 16 and 7/8, and it's 11 and 221. I'll lay the 11 with the Suns against the Clippers. All right, now I'm going to do NHL. I'll recap the two games from yesterday and look ahead to a busy window for tonight. Maple Leafs over the Oilers 4-2. Toronto 22-8-2. Edmonton 18-14-2. Number 3 started the game with the goal Leon Draisaitl. Number 2 started the game with 2 assists. William Nylander. Number 1 started the game with the goal Ilya Mikheyev. And the Penguins come back from 3-0 down to beat the Blues 5-3. Pittsburgh 19-8-5. St. Louis 19-10-5. Number 3 started the game with 2 goals and assists. Brian Rust. Number 2 started the game with the goal and assist. Evan Rodriguez. Number 1 started the game with the goal and assist. Sidney Crosby. Right now we look ahead to the games for today. 7 o'clock on ESPN, Wild Bruins. So welcome back, NHL on ESPN. Boston's minus 176, Minnesota's plus 146, over under 6, overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Minnesota plus 1/2 is minus 172, Boston minus 1/2 is plus 140. I think Boston's among the league's most overrated teams. Give me the Wild plus 146 to win in Boston. Sharks, Sabres. Sharks minus 128, Buffalo plus 106, over under 6, minus 110 each way. Sharks minus 1/2 is plus 198. Buffalo plus 1/2 is minus 245. For this game, I'm going to go over 6. I think that Buffalo's goaltending stinks, and I think the Sharks can put up a good number. Flames, Lightning. The Lightning are minus 152. The Flames are plus 126. Over under 6. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Flames plus 1/2 is minus 194. Lightning minus 1/2 is plus 156. I'm going to go with the over in this game. I think this is a high-scoring affair in Tampa. Blue Jackets, Devils. The Devils are minus 162. Columbus is plus 132. Over under 6.5. Minus 110 each way. Blue Jackets plus 1/2 is minus 96. Devils minus 1/2 is plus 156. The battle of two bad teams, you usually take the underdog in this scenario. So I'm going to do just that. I think they have the better goaltending too. So I'm going to take Columbus plus 132 to knock off the Devils. Penguins, Flyers from Philly. Penguins are a whopping minus 215. Phillies plus 176. Over under 6, minus 110 each way. Penguins minus 1/2 is plus 114. Philly plus 1/2 is minus 140. What makes me nervous about this game is that the Penguins are on the second of a back-to-back, going for 10 straight. The question is, will they do it? I'm going to say yes, but the question is, do I do the puck line or not? I don't think so, because I think Philly could keep this game competitive. And in regulation, I think it's overpriced as well. So for the hell of it, I'm just going to take the over, because I think this is a 4-3 Penguins win. 8:30, Panthers, Stars. Florida's minus 137, Dallas plus 114, over under 6, overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Florida minus 1/2 is plus 176, Dallas plus 1/2 is minus 220. I'm going to go in this game with Florida in regulation at plus 115. 9 o'clock, the Jets and the Avalanche. Colorado's minus 240. Winnipeg's plus 195. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 114. Winnipeg plus 1/2 is minus 128. Colorado minus 1/2 is plus 104. For this game, I'm going to take the over 6.5 and minus 106. I think this is a high-scoring game. Blackhawks, Coyotes. Chicago's minus 170. Arizona's plus 140. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Chicago minus 1/2 is plus 152. Arizona plus 1/2 is minus 188. This is another over game for me. 10 o'clock, Rangers, Golden Knights. Vegas is minus 154. Rangers plus 128. Over under 6. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. Rangers plus 1/2 is minus 194. Vegas minus 1/2 is plus 156. So the Rangers are tied with the Caps for first in the Metro, but they're 1 point behind Tampa for the league standings. I am going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights in regulation at even money. Red Wings Ducks. The Ducks are minus 146. The Red Wings are plus 122. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. Red Wings plus 1.5 is minus 215. Ducks minus 1.5 is plus 172. I'm going to go with the Red Wings as a road dog here, plus 122. And last but not least, 10:30 Predators Kings. Predators minus 135. Kings plus 115. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Predators minus 1.5 is plus 186. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 235. Tough one, but I'm going to go with the under because I think this is a low-scoring game with Juicy Sorrow in net. All right, now we move on to news and notes for the day. The President of the United States just spoke about the one-year anniversary of the Capitol gunfire shooting incident. And then the Vice President spoke before him. And things that they've been saying have both been interesting. Although, just describing that day and how they felt about it and all that. So it's a year since the insurrection at the Capitol. Amazingly as that sounds. There's snow issued for the metro area Thursday night into Friday night, but it keeps changing on the fly. Governor Hochul delivered her first State of the State address yesterday morning as well, and then the Grammys postponed their ceremony, citing Omicron variant risks. So this was rumored to happen. I talked about the possibility on the show the other day, and here we are. That's just really unfortunate. And now to the sports side of things. Something cool happened last night. Dirk Nowitzki got his number retired by the Dallas Mavericks. So the Mavericks did play inspired in that game and won, but let's be real, they won because Stephen Curry wasn't healthy. Because I think that Curry would have showed up for that game. Their defense really isn't that good. But they did play inspired, and it was cool to see Dirk's number go into the Raptors. And Jason Kidd offered Dirk a 10-day contract and says, "We're giving out 10 days. You want to come back?" That was actually pretty funny. Danny Green's rough stats. Tony Snell meme. And NBA Twitter literally lost it. As the stats were just rare in 24 minutes. And we talked about Stephen Curry's quad injury. And we talked about the possibility of Steph resting tonight. That's why I had to adjust the line. I had no idea. Damian Lillard out another week as he undergoes further evaluation on his abdominal injury. Zion is rehabbing in Portland as he's under supervision of the team, and further updates are expected in the next few weeks. And by the way, Mark Cuban had a Dirk statue that's going to go up outside the arena, so that's really cool. And then Cowboys wide receivers Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb showed up at the Mavs game, as well as Clayton Kershaw, who I believe is a free agent still. So, the Kershaw to the Texas Rangers speculation is going to begin. The Bucks waived DeMarcus Cousins to free up a roster spot. Antonio Brown made a statement and says that Bruce Arians tried to make him play through his ankle injury. I don't know who to believe. I don't really like Antonio Brown as a person. I think he has a rough reputation, and I don't think he's mature. But he also, I believe, has some serious mental health issues he has to take care of as well. But I get that, but I really don't think he should have acted the way he acted on Sunday. That was just really, really sad and unfortunate. Bobby Wagner hopes to stay with the Seahawks. There is a lot of optimism on my end that I'll be back. We'll see. If Russell Wilson gets traded, he's not going to be back. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be the similar situation with the Texans last year. Although Watson is somehow still on their roster, technically. ESPN is eyeing A-Rod for 2022 for a Manning cast-like broadcast for Sunday Night Baseball. So that's interesting. Cam Akers to play on Sunday against the 49ers for the first time since tearing his Achilles during the summer. That's amazing that he's back before the end of the season. Amazing. Jimmy G throwing at practice, so that's a good sign that he might be back on Sunday. Derrick Henry designated to return to practice off the injury reserve. That's amazing. If he's back on Sunday, that's incredible. But if I'm the Titans, I sit him Sunday, try to win to get that 1 seed, and then you have the bye, and then you get Henry ready for the division round. That should be Tennessee's game plan. They've been winning without Henry this whole time pretty much, and I believe that's what they should do. Breaking news coming down right now is that the former Bruins goalie Tuukka Rask agrees to a PTO with the Providence Bruins of the AHL and is expected to start on Friday. That's crazy. So, with the AHL Bruins, not the Boston Bruins. So that's kind of wild. We'll see if any NHL team picks him up. Aaron Rodgers calls out the MVP voter that called him out as for why he wasn't, how he should have won the MVP. As Rodgers says, he's a bum, he doesn't know me. And the guy really was said some rough things about Aaron Rodgers. And then the reporter issued an apology as well. And it's a Chicago writer as well. And the writer was Hub Arkush. And he was on with Danny Parkins and Matt Spiegel on 670 The Hub in Chicago. And Arkush said that Rodgers was a jerk. He said, I don't think you can be the biggest jerk in the league and punish your team and organization and your fan base the way he did and be the MVP. He has been the most valuable player on the field. Yeah, you could make that argument, but I don't think he's been clearly that much more valuable than Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, or maybe even Tom Brady. And for where I sit, the rest of it is why he's not going to be my choice. And then he says, we are told to pick the guy who we think is the most valuable to his team. And then he also said that he shouldn't be the MVP because he lied about his vaccination status. Like, that's really what made a lot of people angry, how he lied to his team like that. But my argument is off-field stuff really shouldn't matter when it comes to MVP voting. It should be on-field performance. And the best player in the NFL this year has been the one and only Aaron Rodgers. And a ton of people, including Adam Shine of CBS Sports, says this quote is complete and utter crap. Anyone who thinks like this or says this out loud should lose their vote. That's a strong take by Adam Shine. But a lot of people are angry at this reporter because of what he said about Aaron Rodgers, and rightfully so. I think that this reporter, Arkush, is way wrong. And I agree with Adam Shine and NFL Network's Gil Brandt, who says some people should have their MVP voting privileges revoked. Good night. He was angry, Gil Brandt. And I like Gil Brandt a lot, too. So, it was just crazy. And apparently, Arkush apologized. And he said on Tuesday, when I'm regularly employed as an analyst and host for reasons that I'm still trying to come to grips, but were completely my responsibility to allow myself to be walked into a conversation about an MVP candidate I knew I would not be voting for. I said some things that were not unreasonable in the context that they were said. I voiced them in totally inappropriate ways. He said, I've apparently unleashed a small army of self-styled social media and talk radio experts who have no clue what they're talking about, so they challenge the quality of voting process and would attempt to invalidate any vote or thought process that doesn't agree with their own, he says. And nowhere in the apology did it say that Arkush would rethink his stance on his vote. So yeah, I wanted to spend a lot of time on that because this was just crazy to me. And I really think that Aaron Rodgers should be the MVP. And if he doesn't win the MVP, it's because Jonathan Taylor or Joe Burrow have surpassed him. That's it. That's it. And Joe Burrow and Jonathan Taylor belong in the conversation. And Tom Brady, no thanks. He laid a dud against the Saints. No thanks. And Josh Allen lost to the Jaguars. Sorry, goodbye. Cooper Kupp, great year, but they're not the 1 seed. I'm sorry. The Bengals are sitting Joe Burrow on Sunday as they're going to rest up for the playoffs. So that's a terrible game all of a sudden, the Bengals-Browns game. So the Bengals are tanking their game against the Browns for to get a good playoff seed. And that's sometimes a mistake. Karma's a bitch sometimes. And this is a big deal too. Mikko Koskinen clapped back at the Oilers head coach Dave Tippett, as Tippett criticized the Oilers' goaltending, and Mikko Koskinen says, "We scored 7 goals in my last 6 losses. I can't score goals." Jeez, yikes. I mean, he took a shot at the offense, but he's not wrong. Koskinen is not wrong, but Kiskinen's performances have not been good either. So you could spin it both ways. Just the team just hasn't been playing well. It's a team game, not a finger-pointing game. So Koskinen is wrong in the sense of not taking responsibility as a team rather than pointing at one unit for why they've been losing. And let's face it, the reason why they've been losing a little bit is for a variety of reasons, but Connor McDavid has COVID, so now they have an excuse to hinge over. Urban Meyer says that Trayvon Martin image was used to present the team's no hoodie rule in 2017. And then lastly, the NFL pre-draft interview has a warning now that teams could lose a draft pick and face fines for inappropriate behavior in pre-draft interviews. So that is interesting for sure. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. My pick for this is going to be a team that we haven't seen play in a minute, going to college basketball for the first time in 2022. I mean, I hope it doesn't upset the mojo, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to lay 5.5 with USC against Colorado. I'm sorry, California. I'm just going to lay 1 unit because I need to obviously keep some dollars around for Fab 5 tomorrow, and obviously the national championship on Monday. So I'm going to lay the 5.5 with USC against Cal tonight. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping all the games looking ahead to tomorrow and the rest of the weekend, and obviously the Fab 5 plus the rest of the Week 18 picks for the NFL. And I might have a big guest tomorrow night. You have to wait and see. All right, I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.